Man, oh man. Man, oh man, oh man. What is good, people, man? It's your boy Persona Gamer, Persona, one half of the What's Up PlayStation podcast crew. And welcome to episode 257, 258. Yo, listen, at some point, I'm probably going to have to go back and like redo the episode numbering of this, of my One Persona Speaks, because I legit forgot the numbers that I'm on. Yo, real talk. I just be putting the numbers thinking like that's what the number is, and that might not even be the number, real talk. But yeah, yo, listen, yo, shout out to everybody here, man. Appreciate you guys. I know a little bit of an impromptu when Persona Speaks, you feel me? We're gonna be talking about a couple things surrounding Concord and some recent rumors, claims, and whatnot. We definitely going to get into it. But listen, if you are at work, hopefully I could get you through your work day. If you're on your way home from work or school, hopefully I could get you through your commute home. You might be at home cooking dinner, doing homework with the kids. Hopefully I could get you through your session. Listen, you might be taking a shower. I don't know. Cleanliness is closer to godliness. Listen, you might be having the matters with the significant other. I don't know. I just appreciate you putting me on. Listen, guys, put a 1 in the chat if you're feeling great. Put a 2 in the chat if you're feeling okay, and put a 3 in the chat if you're not feeling that great at all. But I gotta be honest, if you're at a 3, we gotta get you to at least a 2 by the end of the show. Listen, it's Friday, it's the weekend, you understand? Gaming, going out, doing whatever you do. Get happy. I'm seeing the ones. Harlem, why are you a 2? I don't like that. We're going to get you to a 1, Harlem. We're going to get you to a 1 by the end of this show. We're going to try. Shout out to everybody here, man. Big shout out to everybody here, man. Hit the like button. Share the show out and all that good stuff. Like I said, a little impromptu When Persona Speaks Friday edition. You feel me? Friday. You know, nice. It was a long week. Real talk, it was a really long work week this week for me, man. Like, it was really tiring, really stressful. A lot of meetings, a lot of work. It was very busy for me this week. When it comes to work, so I'm very, very happy for it to be the weekend. You feel me? I'm very happy for the weekend, but it sucks too. Well, I don't want to say it sucks, but I gotta like do some stuff with family this weekend. I kind of don't. Let me not even say it. Listen, I gotta do stuff with family this weekend, and I kind of want to be lazy and not do shit, but got some stuff to do with family this weekend, so I don't really have time for myself. All right, but yo, listen, shout out to everybody here, man. Yo, Harlem PS Gamer, what's good with you, man? Appreciate you. KI Gaming in the building. Viper Reaps Corner in the building. 3, I got the flu shot today and I'm pissed. I should feel better soon. Damn, yo, Viper, I hope you feel better, man. Getting that flu shot, man. Hope everything's all right with you. Hopefully, I think in the flu shot they put a little bit of the flu in the flu shot, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. That's why you're feeling that way, but hopefully you feel better, man. I'm sorry to hear that, Viper. Yo, Henry Heck in the building. Shout out to my boy Henry in the building. Henry, how you feeling today, man? Appreciate you. Wild Wolf in the building. Justin Loco Bellis in the building. Gian the Don in the building. Leash 1399. Guy Suka. Big Hardcore Gamer. Mr. Polar Bar. Stardust Cicero. I'm Moriarty K. Who else is it? T Mang Fu in the building. Big Hardcore Gamer, 7 City, Franco Tech. Shout out to everybody here, man. Appreciate y'all. Listen, round of applause for the folks in the chat. This is like my midday snack right here. You feel me? My protein shake. But yeah, man. So listen, y'all see the title. Yo, Nerdy Gaming, what's good? Appreciate you, Nerdy. 11-hour shift, but getting that Visions of Mana Plat this weekend going to feel good. Yo, Mr. Polar Bar, I'm also working on the Visions of Mana Plat. I'm on chapter 6. No, 5, because I have to fight the Benevodon of Darkness. So that's what I'm doing right now. That's where I'm at in the story. So I'm gonna try to break through as much of that as I can this weekend. Try to get the platinum. Who knows? We'll see. But because like I said, I got a really busy weekend, but loving Visions of Mana. I think it's a great game. Really enjoying it a lot as well. So, shout out to Visions of Mana. But yeah, man, yo, listen. Also, yo, listen, I put out my 30th anniversary collection video. A lot of people supporting that video. It feels good. You know, shout out to everybody that watched that video. If you haven't, definitely check out the breakdown of the 30th anniversary collection. You know, definitely hit the like button, share that video out and whatnot, man. It really means a lot. It helps your boy out. You feel me? But yeah, I hope Fair Games and Marathon are successful. We gonna see. But listen, guys, we gotta get into it, man. We're gonna talk about a couple things surrounding Concord. It's crazy, man. Concord died 2 weeks ago, but the game is still being talked about, man. Like, it's crazy too, because it's like, as much as people did not support Concord, they're talking about it. You know, there's so many people that's talking about this game, talking about its failure, talking about the characters and the gameplay, and all these people talking about Concord, but ain't played the shit, ain't buy it, ain't support it. If this many people were talking about Concord, we wouldn't be in this situation. I gotta be honest. It's crazy, right? But, you know, we definitely gonna talk about Concord, some of the claims and the rumors, and just because it's not just the whole thing with Colin Moriarty was what we're gonna talk about first, but the other thing from Kotaku about Ryan, is it Ryan Ellis? I think his name is. We're gonna look at it, but yeah, it's just a number of things that I'm seeing, and I'm just like, when I seen the Colin Moriarty thing, it kind of sparked me. I was like, you know what? I gotta do a show. I want to do a show. I want to talk about it because I can't do it. I can't fit it all into a video. It's gonna have to be a show because there's a lot of things that I kind of want to talk about, give my perspective on, break down, and things of that nature. So that's why, you know, we're doing a little bit of an impromptu When Persona Speaks Friday edition. You feel me? But, you know, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into it, man. And, you know, one of the things that I do want to put as a disclaimer here, you feel me, right? Because I'm gonna be honest, that $400 million number, I said it on Twitter. I have a hard time. I have a very, very difficult time believing that. You know, respect to you know, I have a lot of respect for Colin Moriarty, right? I don't necessarily I don't necessarily have like any, you know, there's no disrespect to Colin Moriarty. I have a lot of respect for him. He was on WUPS, so I'm not really trying to say he's a liar or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, for me, like 400 million, that is absolutely an insane number. But, you know, I do want to break it down, you know, play around with the rumor and whatnot, and just talk about a couple things, like I said, when it comes to it. But, you know, we definitely gonna talk about that, talk about some of the other news, and really just talk about Concord and the studio itself, and kind of like what I hope doesn't happen when it comes to when it comes to Firewalk Studio and things like that. I know right now Firewalk is probably they're definitely keeping to themselves, right? Because a couple of them I follow, and a couple of the Firewalk developers follow me as well, and I haven't really seen much activity from them. I did see some activity from Amanda. What was it, like 2 days ago? I think Amanda, she's the one of the lead artists over at Firewalk, and she tweeted something. I forgot what it was specifically, but I know I commented on that tweet, and I told her, you know, I hope you and the team are doing all right and whatnot, because, you know, it's definitely a difficult time for Firewalk Studio right now, right? I definitely do think that they are definitely going through a very tough time, because, you know, and I think anybody that has ever worked on something can understand, like, when you put out something and it kind of fails like that, you know, that shit is soul crushing, you know? So I understand that. I understand kind of wanting to kind of be reserved and pull back a little bit when something that you put a lot of effort into or something like that, it doesn't really see any type of success or anything like that. So I could understand, and the developers, you know, kind of wanting to pull back and kind of wanting to, you know, rethink things and whatever else they want to do, take time off, whatever, right? I think we all can understand that, right? John, yeah, people can't stop talking about the game like it's their job. Yo, facts. Where did 400 mil come from? Yo, Impatient Fire, what's good? Damn, Concord is a mega flop. Even if the rumor isn't 100% true and they only spent half of the 400 million, that's still a ton of money. This is crazy. Yeah, we're gonna talk about all of it, right? Because obviously Concord did fail. Like, you know, you can't get around that. Like, I think we all understand and can agree. Even me, as much as I enjoyed Concord, love Concord, it failed. It was a failure. It failed. You know, it wasn't supported and things like that. Like, I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. You feel me? But I do think it's important to kind of talk about a couple things surrounding what's happening and what's going on and the fallout and what may happen. And like I said, that's kind of where I want to talk about. But I do want to start with the kind of the hottest thing right now, which is the Colin Moriarty clip from the Sacred Symbols podcast. Shout out to Sacred Symbols. Shout out to, like I said, Colin and his crew. You know, a lot of respect to those guys over there, man. Like, you know, like I said, a lot of respect. And again, we've had Colin on What's Up PlayStation podcast as well. So, you know, big respect to Colin, right? But I do want to, you know, look at this clip. It's a bit of a lengthy clip, but I do want us to kind of watch this, talk about it. You know, I want to give my thoughts and my opinions on certain things in the middle of it. You know, break it down, and then, you know, we'll talk about a couple other things, man. Yo, Upchuck Gaming, what's good, bro? Appreciate you. Wild Wolf said, my big question is, what was Herman Hulse thinking at the time? And see, and that's the thing. I want to talk about all of that because, you know, kind of what Colin talks about here, and then obviously everything else surrounding, you know, the whole live service push from PlayStation. I want to talk about all of it. So, you know, kick back, relax, kick your feet up. We about to, you know, have a little fun here. So, if you have time, talk about this whole remastering situation on PlayStation. Jeff Grubb apparently confirmed Days Gone remastered. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that tomorrow on Whoops, for sure. Whoever that guy is in the video is a big fat phony, cause ain't no way, boy. Yo, you funny, Mr. Polar Bar. I respect Colin. He's a stand-up guy, one of the few gamer journalists I still respect. Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Colin, man, cause he, you know, Colin isn't bought as far as I see. But yo, let's get into it. We about to get into this. You feel me? Like I said, and you know, we about to talk about it. So let's look at the clip, and let's see what Colin and the crew are saying here.
I want to talk about Concord. I wasn't going to ever talk about this game again because who really gives a shit? However, and I don't do journalism really anymore, as you guys know, and we talk about this a lot. I was a journalist at one time, and I used to break a lot of stories, and these days I don't really grind like that. So the stories that I break these days are usually people, always, not usually, always people coming to me. And someone who worked on Concord reached out to me, and I verified who this person was and went through all of that and talked to this person extensively, like for a long time. Ooh. And got some, I think, interesting.
Yo, Barry, what's good, bro? Shout out to you. TM Bambush, what's good? Shout out to everybody here. Like I said, I appreciate y'all. Barry said, definitely crazy news. Don't think Colin is super off here, but there are questions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I'm sure, you know, we definitely gonna talk about this tomorrow on Whoops with me and Barry. I'm pretty sure we're gonna talk about this in detail as well.
Interesting information that I can share about Concord, and I think people will be interested about it. The reason that I wanted to talk about it is because some of the assumptions that I had made about the game were dead wrong, as far as how much it cost and how much Sony really lost on it. So the big thing that you really need to know here about this is that Concord cost about $400 million to make.
Hey, yo, let's stop right there. Yo, we gonna stop the video. Hey, I ain't even having no time to put my yo, listen, we gonna stop the video right there. 400 million? Listen, man. Nah, listen, there is no way, man. There is no fucking, like, again, I got a lot of respect for Colin. Like, I'm not calling Colin a liar or nothing like that. I really want to stress that. What I'm saying is I question that $400 million number, because that is absolutely insane to me. Call of Duty don't even cost that much to make. Actually, it might. You know what? I'm lying. That might. Never mind. But even if you know what? Yeah, let's flip that. even if Call of Duty did cost that much to make, look at what is going into that game. You got the battle pass, you got the story, you got the zombies, you got the multiplayer. There isn't nearly enough. Listen, I love Concord, and I'm pretty sure probably some of the devs are watching. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, Firewalk, but we're gonna be honest here. There isn't nearly enough in Concord to say this is $400 million, right? You got the multiplayer, you got the maps, you got the characters, right? You got the vignettes, right? Which are weekly story releases that's gonna be happening. Then you got the roadmap and all that stuff. I don't see $400 million being dumped into Concord like how you would see a $400 million budgeted game. Hell no. Hell no. There isn't nearly enough there, at least from a gameplay perspective. That is insane. Yo, Tevin, what's up, man? Nah, Colin would say this if his source was checked. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, that's why I'm even entertaining it, because it's Colin. If this was anybody else, I really wouldn't be into this. I've said this before. There's only a few people in the industry that I would even entertain, like, rumors or even, like, talk about it. You know, Jeff Grubb, shout out to my boy Grubb. You know, Jason Schreier. You know, Colin, like, certain people I respect where they have a decent enough track record where I'm like, all right, even if they do come out wrong or if the information isn't 100% right, I would still talk about it because the track record is not as it's a pretty solid track record. Anyway, I just don't see 400 million floating around Concord in terms of what's in the game. Now, obviously, the vignettes definitely it probably costs a pretty penny to do that stuff weekly. But even with that, I'm just like, no. You know, like I just have a hard time believing it. But let's continue. I'm getting ahead of it.
Oh my God.
And the story goes that Concord, by the time Concord was, so in the first quarter of 2023, Concord had basically entered an alpha state. This was before Sony had even
2020. He said the first quarter of 2020. Let me hear that again.
In the first quarter of 2023, Concord had
okay, 2023. Okay.
Basically entered an alpha state. This was before Sony had even purchased the team. But Sony had been working with Probably Monsters, and which was the
and that's the thing. 2023 could really mean the calendar year of 2022 because 2023 starts. Well, I forget what everybody's fiscal year is different, but typically most people's new fiscal year starts around the summertime. So 2023 really is the calendar year of 2022, like around that summertime area or around fall time. Or whatever, but let's continue.
The original owner of Firewalk and Firewalk, probably since late 2020, maybe 2021 at the latest on Concord. The game was in development before that.
Yo, Sick, what's good? Yo, shout out to my boy Sick. Yo, Sick, this is Concord is our Halo Infinite? Or was it Halo Guardians? No, it was Halo Guardians, where they were saying Halo Guardians was like 500 million or some crazy shit like that. I remember that. Crazy. Yo, DLW, what's good? Yo, no offense, that is complete BS. 400 mil? That's how the first Avengers movie cost with marketing. His numbers are wrong. That's not possible. Sorry, try again. LD, what's good? Shout out to the Bozo Herman host. Oh my God. Ooh, yo, D-Nice, what's good, man? Appreciate you. Shout out to everybody here.
Up to the point that the game went into alpha state, they had already.
Oh, they said Halo Infinite as well? I thought it was Halo Guardians. That's crazy. That's still crazy. No way that shit cost 500. Anyway, let's continue.
Spent about $200 million on it. And it's unclear how much of that money is from Probably Monsters and the original investors into the game and how much of that money was from Sony.
I was going to say, yo, real talk, even like, let's just entertain the hypothetical, right? Even if it was 400 million, I don't believe all of that 400 million is Sony. Hell no. It can't be. It could never be. Hell no. Because Firewalk was under Probably Monsters. And when the studio first got introduced to us was back in 2021 with the partnership with PlayStation, with them saying that they were working on a special game, a multiplayer game with PlayStation. That was back in 2021. Or was it 2024? 2023. We knew about Firewalk since 2021. I might be having my timelines mixed up. Somebody will definitely correct me in the chat. But the partnership between PlayStation and all of that, and then them acquiring them, because they acquired them. Okay, now I got my timeline right. 2021, we knew about the partnership between PlayStation and Firewalk. 2023 is when PlayStation acquired Firewalk. There we go. I got my timeline. I got my info right now.
There's this term in product development, not only with games, but really with everything. You can like manufacture a tchotchke. You guys might have heard of it. It's called minimum viability, or a minimum viable product.
Mhm.
The idea behind this, or MVP, the idea behind this is that this is like what you're trying to achieve, and it's like once you cross this barrier, you feel comfortable selling it. It's not that it's the best it can be, or that it's what it's going to be by the time you launch it, because there's all sorts of extra stuff you do to it. But like, this is the minimum viability of the product. When the game had already had $200 million spent on it and was basically in an alpha form in quarter one of 2023, from that point until the game launched, Sony spent another $200 million on it.
Hold on. Let me hear that part again.
Barrier, you feel comfortable selling it. It's not that it's the best it can be, or that it's what it's going to be by the time you launch it, because there's all sorts of extra stuff you do to it. But like, this is the minimum viability of the product. When the game had already had $200 million spent on it and was basically in an alpha form in quarter one of 2023, from that point until the game launched, Sony spent another $200 million on it.
My question is, on what? Because they acquired them in 2023, like calendar year 2023. April of 2023 is when PlayStation acquired them. I would imagine that acquisition, I forgot how much they cost. I don't even know if we even got like the acquisition number for Firewalk, but I would imagine, because PlayStation acquired Insomniac for $225 million. I can't imagine Firewalk them spending more than maybe 80 million, if that. 50, 60, 70 million. I don't know. Maybe 100 million. Who knows? To acquire them. I can't imagine that number being that high, or as, super, super high. But 200 million on what? Because there's no single player in Concord. Yes, you have the voice actors and the mocap and all that other stuff, for the characters, but even when you're doing the vignettes, I feel like the vignettes are maybe 1 or 2 minutes, maybe 3, maybe 5 minutes, depending on what it is. And maybe again, let's play around with the numbers. Let's say hypothetically this is all true. Maybe a lot of that money went to the vignettes and the short stories and all that stuff, productions that they did. But even with that, and again, I'm not in that realm or that business within the sector, so I can't really speak to like what something would or wouldn't cost. But I just found it hard to believe, especially when you've got like Pixar movies and things like that cost 150 maybe to make, 90 million to make. And that's like a feature length, full 1.5 hour, 90 minute, maybe 2 hour movie. So I guess if you couple, listen, I can't. I'm sorry, man. I can't believe this. Like, I can't believe 400 million in total. So obviously 200 million is from probably Monsters, and then Sony drops another 200 million. Nah. I don't. If the acquisition price or acquisition number is not floating around in that 200 million, I don't see it. I just can't. I have a hard time believing that.
The scuttlebutt behind the scenes about Concord is that the game was in a laughable shape when it was shown, and basically like when the alpha was ready to go, and they were kind of being like, we're ready to kind of get moving towards getting this thing out in the next year or two. It was in such horrible shape that Sony felt like they needed to spend that much money again. So, 200 plus 200 to get the game to the MVP status, not to the status of it being like a great game, to get it to just viability. And that at that time.
What? Yo, hold up. Yo, hold on. I gotta hear that part again. What?
Get moving towards getting this thing out in the next year or two. It was in such horrible shape that Sony felt like they needed to spend that much money again. So, 200 plus 200 to get the game to the MVP status, not to the status of it being like a great game, to get it to just viability.
Yo, yo, listen. This is PlayStation we talking about here, bruh. PlayStation is not. I have never seen and again, this is under different leadership. I have, in all my years of following PlayStation news, and I have never in my life seen PlayStation put that big of a check towards an unproven studio with a brand new IP. Never. And the thing is, the only studios that I personally, in my opinion, the only studios that I believe PlayStation would even give that type of grace to is a Naughty Dog, a Sony Santa Monica, an Insomniac, right? A Sucker, like their core five. Like when you think of PlayStation and like their core five studios, like PlayStation's core, this is like the life bane of PlayStation. It's Naughty Dog, Insomniac, Sony Santa Monica, Sucker Punch, and it could either be Polyphony or San Diego Studio. Either or, interchangeable. You decide. But that's like the life, and really, I would probably say Polyphony because Gran Turismo is PlayStation's highest selling IP, lifetime sales. So I would actually put Polyphony as number 5. That's the life bane of, like, that's the core PlayStation studio. That's the core. I can see PlayStation giving that type of grace to one of them that's making a brand new IP and saying, yo, look, you gave us a $150 million, let's just play around with numbers. You gave us a $200 million budget. I need 200 mil more. I see PlayStation more willing, and PlayStation didn't give the initial 200 million. Obviously, that was probably Monsters or whoever, but PlayStation coming in and tacking on an additional 200 million. I don't see PlayStation being that graceful and that giving to a studio that is unproven with a project that you don't know if it's going to fail. That really, if what's Colin's saying is to believe, is in a laughable state like that. An extra 200 mil? Nah. Mm-mm. I don't see that. I find that hard to believe. And if PlayStation did do that, wow. I see the core 5 studios getting that type of grace. A brand new just bought unproven studio. Whoo, that boy Jim Ryan and co had faith, boy. They had some serious faith, I tell you, because hell no.
And that at that time in Q1 2023, there was nothing done. Like, a major expense was having to urgently outsource much of the game to other studios to finish building the game out. And
okay. So if that's to be believed, so the 400 million, so the extra 200 million, let's run that back.
Game to get it to just viability. And that at that time in Q1 2023, there was nothing done. Like, a major expense was having to urgently outsource much of the game to other studios to.
Now that that seems more believable. Like I can believe that, because the narrative that a lot of people, especially a lot of people on Twitter, are trying to push out there with this whole 400 million thing is, oh, 400 went into the game. It's not in the game, whatever. Which, I don't. If somebody was to say the budget went, that 400 million went to the game, I wouldn't believe you, because I'm like, no. Like, as much as I enjoy Concord, no, it's too lacking in a story, a campaign, and other things for it to no. But if what Colin is saying here is to be believed, where they had to outsource a lot of the game or parts of the game to a lot of other teams to get the game finished, I can see how that cost can add up. But PlayStation has their own in-house dev teams like Nexus and XDev and all that would
finish.
I don't know.
Building the game out, and that.
Yo, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I appreciate y'all. Lansville Paul, what's good? Shout out to everybody here.
Two fundamental.
Not no MP live service game. It costs too much to run and maintain. Why have such a high dev cost? Makes no sense, especially with no monetization. That's what I'm saying, Bari. That does not make no sense to me. To put that much money behind something and not have microtransactions, you feel me? And I'm not I'm not advocating for microtransactions, but I'm saying if a studio is putting that much money behind something like this that's meant to be live service, I would imagine that you want to make that investment back more than just people buying the game, I would assume. That's crazy.
Fundamental things were not worked on at all up to the.
Yo, Sumo in the building. Sumo, how you feeling, bro? Shout out to you. Valhalla Outcast in the building. What's going on with you, man? I appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody coming through, rocking out. Sumo said, pre-production costs ain't even hundreds of millions. This is nuts. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of this is tough. It's tough to believe. I'll be honest with you. It's tough to believe, man. A lot of this shit is very, very tough to believe. Yo, Brian East, what's good? Frederick Williams, Killer Cam for show. Bats in the building. Shout out to my boy Bats. All right, let's keep watching.
Point in which the game was shown in alpha. Onboarding, nothing about that. No, like there was nothing about how players get on, like how they make their character, all that kind of stuff, or choose their character and get there. And monetization, two very expensive, very specific and boutique things that happen to games like this. And so that's the first thing that I wanted to say, is that it's not only about the ongoing cost, which would be in the millions to keep the game going per month, but that the game cost about $400 million.
So here's
dollars to make.
Here's the thing too. The reason why, now I'm not going to say 400 million, but the reason why I do think that there is definitely a high cost when it comes to Concord is because PlayStation shut this game down entirely too quickly. I have seen games perform much worse than Concord be kept alive much longer. And I'm not saying games under PlayStation. I'm saying like other live service games or whatever. Even pivoting to free to play. You feel me? They didn't even entertain that option. They shut this whole shit down. I've never seen that happen. I've never seen a game get shut down this quickly ever in my life. Ever. I have never 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I have never seen a game be shut down this quickly with no, oh, we're just gonna pivot to free to play and try to get like nothing. We're just yo, we shutting this shit down and we packing up. We packing up the ship. I have never ever seen that type of shit happen before, ever. So the cost is definitely high. I believe that cost is definitely high. 400 mil high? I don't. But I would imagine that cost is definitely high because PlayStation shut this shit down too quick. Way too quickly.
Soup to nuts. Sony put most of that money in, and it is not only so, because we had kind of said like this must be Sony's biggest loss ever on a.
That's a good point. Yo, shout out to D-Nice41. That's a good point. He says Sony's big studios outsource all the time. They still don't cost $400 million. That's a great point. Multiple studios worked on Spider-Man 2. Multiple studios worked on God of War Ragnarok. A lot of other studios worked on The Last of Us Part 2. And even these games don't get to that $400 million mark. But again, the 400 million. So the thing about the $400 million number that I want to make sure that we're clear on, that 400 million isn't all coming out of PlayStation's pocket. If the number is to be believed and people are wanting to run with that, with what Colin is saying, then only 200 million of the 400 million PlayStation or Sony contributed to, in addition to the other 200 million, in addition to the other 200 million that shit scared the hell out of me. That Nico, thanks for subbing to the channel. That shit was loud as hell in my ear and it scared the shit out of me. The other 200 million is from probably Monsters. So that's the other side of it. That's the other part of it, where those are the ones that's kind of, you know, that footed the initial 200 million if the 400 million is to be believed. But let's continue.
The game, and it's the biggest game Sony's ever released from.
Because I have the game, when somebody subs or like does a super chat or something, that notification noise plays on the same sound. On the same sound as what I got the video playing at. So I got the video loud so I could hear. So when that shit played, it was loud in my ear. It scared the hell out of me. But yo, let's continue.
From a budgetary standpoint, from the first party or second party. So let that sink in.
It's crazy.
And it's totally unintuitive. There are games that are in development right now at Sony first and second party that are more expensive than this.
That is crazy. Yo, y'all not hearing this shit? Hey, yo, let me play this back. Y'all not listening. Open your ears. And close your eyes. No, don't close your eyes because you wouldn't be able to see. You wouldn't be able to see what we're talking about. Open your ears. There are games. The man said there are games being developed at PlayStation right now that cost more than this. 400 million. I hope these ain't live servers, because I'm gonna tell you right. Colin, go ahead and say what you said again, because I don't think the people in the back heard you.
It's the biggest game Sony's ever released from a budgetary standpoint, from the first party or second party. So let that sink in.
It's crazy.
And it's totally unintuitive. There are games that are in development right now at Sony first and second party that are more expensive than this. But as
hey, yo, bro. More expensive than $400 million? Spider-Man only costs how much to make? How much Spider-Man 2 cost to make? 300 million? 275 million? I think Spider-Man 2 is like the most expensive game PlayStation had made, at like 300 million or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. More expensive than Concord at $400 million? Nah, man. Nah. Yo, Sean Layden was right, man. Yo, the sustainability with AAA game development is out. That is not sustainable, bro. What? Especially when you motherfuckers don't want to buy games.
Well, you know, it shouldn't be $70. Why? The game should be free. Put it in a service.
Wow. Whew. Lord have mercy.
As of the games that have come out so far, so think about like Spider-Man 2 and so on and so forth. We know The Last of Us Part 2 cost $220 million. Spider-Man 3 is going to cost about $350 million.
Lord have mercy. Spider-Man 3 going to cost $350 mil, which I'm pretty sure Spider-Man 3 will be the conclusion. It's going to probably be massive. They'll probably have DLCs, marketing, all this other shit, you know, all that stuff attached to it. But Spider-Man 3 costing $350 million is more believable than Concord costing $400 million to make. Like, if somebody was to come to me and say, hey, Persona, you know, I heard that Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3 is going to cost $350 million to make, I would be more inclined to believe that because it's Spider-Man. PlayStation is going to put a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of marketing, have big names attached to it, all that good stuff, collector's edition, special, all these different things attached to it. I'm more inclined to believe that. Even if there's like no source, I would still be like, yeah, I can see that being more of a possibility of Spider-Man 2 costing Spider-Man 3 costing $350 million to make. Concord, $400 million? Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Excuse the language. You know, I don't know if the kids is watching. You understand? Nah. No.
This game cost more than that.
Crazy.
And they lost all of it because they made no money. They made about $1 million gross revenue, and then they gave it all back. So this is a huge, multiple hundreds of millions of dollar loss. Now, the question is, why? Why did this happen? This game was heavily championed behind the scenes. Now, we know this because Sony ended up, what's funny is that the game is presented in Q1 2023 as this, you know, we're kind of getting towards the end. The game is nowhere near being done. It's in a horrible position. And then Sony buys the team. The idea behind this was, and
let me comment on that, right? Because that's something that, again, PlayStation and how PlayStation moves or has moved in the past. I've never known PlayStation to be so gun-ho and so bullish like that, to buy into something that has not proven itself. They have never done that before. They always wait for the game to release, at least how we've seen it, you know, Housemark with Returnal. With Returnal. Returnal released. It was successful for that studio. You understand? It sold maybe like 800,000 copies. But when you look at Housemark and their traditional sales and how their games would sell, it was what, 200? It was about 250K. That was the average sales rate for Housemarque's games. This game doubled, maybe tripled that. That's a success. PlayStation viewed that as a success. The money that went into that, and also this was a step up because they invested so much into making this a much more high quality AAA experience. Housemarque leveled up off Returnal, where now Housemarque is, you know, you can really consider them like a AAA or more of a AAA studio now, because of the quality that's in Returnal, right? But there's rapport behind that. You know, Housemarque has worked with PlayStation for generations, you understand? For years. And Housemarque has been around for a very, very long time. So PlayStation investing in them and putting faith into them makes sense. Insomniac, right? Insomniac has been developing for PlayStation since the beginning. You know, they have a very, very long rapport with them. And before they got acquired, obviously, Insomniac has long proven themselves as being a very viable asset to PlayStation and has made a lot of successful games. So it's a no-brainer to invest into them and things like, you see where I'm going? PlayStation has always invested or bought into studios that have proven themselves. Now, obviously, the newer studios, they have put investments and things like that into those as well. And we see the different initiatives like the China Hero Project, the Indie Hero Project, the Korean Hero, not Hero Project, but, you know, investing into Shift Up and investing into their vision and things like that. So it's not like PlayStation doesn't invest into new projects and new teams, right? That's not what I'm saying. But for PlayStation to be very, if this all is to be believed, because obviously none of this is confirmed, and none of this will probably ever be confirmed, really. But let's play around with the idea of this information, right? If it's to be believed that PlayStation would put this much money behind an unproven studio with an unproven IP that is having trouble even getting off the ground, like let's put the bullet points out there, right? Let's bullet point each red flag, right? A brand new unproven studio. That's bullet point 1. Bullet point 2, trouble getting the game off the ground. Bullet point 3, trouble getting having to outsource the game to other studios, to multiple studios, to get the game in a playable state. Shall I keep going? If all is to be believed and that's what's going on behind the scenes, PlayStation is going to be that bullish and put $200 million behind something that's unproven? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. No. And if PlayStation did that, insane. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. That is crazy.
The term apparently verbatim had been used that Concord is the future of PlayStation. That they had such major ambition for this game that it was referred to internally as a Star Wars-like project.
Listen. When I watched this video earlier, When they said that, I was drinking. It's funny. I had to stop drinking my water when he started saying the Star Wars bit. Cause listen, when I heard that the first time, I almost I almost choked. I was like, huh? Star Wars? Listen. Very few things can be compared to Star Wars when it comes to brand recognition. And what do I mean by that? Star Wars is a household name. You can call your grandmother or your grandfather right now and ask them about Star Wars, and they'll know what you're talking about. You can call your great-grandmother and great-grandfather right now and ask them about Star Wars, and chances are they know what the fuck you're talking about. They might not know the new Star Wars, but they'll know the shit from the 70s. Star Wars is so huge that even the worst games still sell. Concord, I love you, baby. Hell no. Hell no. And PlayStation, what the hell are you talking about? Star Wars? No. 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 Not saying the game couldn't have been successful, but like comparing it to Star Wars? No. No.
For Sony, that it can be repeatedly revisited over and over and over again, not only in cross media, but in what we were seeing. We've already kind of seen little bits of it. So the weekly story vignettes that they were going to release, and then of course the inclusion in Amazon's Secret Levels anthology, that's like just scratching the surface of it. Ironically, the game was codenamed Chaos behind the scenes. And a major thing about the game is that there was, and I think we can kind of get this vibe from just the nature of the people making it and kind of the way the game reads and all that, a toxic positivity vibe. You weren't allowed to say anything, apparently internally, about this game. About how like something's wrong with it, character designs are not right, and so on and so forth. They really, truly believe this was Herman Hulst's baby, apparently.
So listen, let me talk on the toxic positivity portion of Innate, Robert Evans, what's good? Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Let me Jesus, what's up? Let me talk about the toxic positivity aspect of it, right? Because I want to entertain that for a second, because I think it's very important for people to be able to, one, accept criticism, constructive criticism, respectful criticism, right? You know, and this is something that I said about Concord when it comes to a lot of people that were shitting on the game. You know, telling somebody that is woke trash or something like that, that's not constructive criticism. That's some dumb shit that you're spewing on the internet. That's not something that a developer can look at, read, and discern and make an educated decision that can be for the betterment of the game. Calling something woke trash, that's not constructive criticism, right? But I do think that it's important for and not really and truly, you got to blame people like that just call everything woke trash or it's garbage or whatever, and doesn't really give a well thought out reason why a game might not really be good, especially people who don't play the game. You know, you get a lot of that within this community, and that's a big reason why I believe that developers don't necessarily listen to the community anymore or even like engage, because there really is no true constructive criticisms that you can really get from speaking with the general public of the online gaming community, because there's so, and not saying that there aren't people that, you know, within the general public, like where we all congregate, not saying that there aren't people that can give constructive criticism that can be for the betterment of the game or anything like that. But what I'm saying is the loudest ones in the room are often the ones that are speaking that dumb shit about woke trash and this, that, and the third, where it's hard to be able to discern and cipher and parse through the positive or more constructive criticisms that could possibly be for the betterment of the game, right? And this is why you get a lot of developers who do not engage. because of this. And do I think that's right? No, I think developers should still keep their ear to the ground and things like that. So, I'm not excusing certain developers of that, but I do think that when it comes to toxic positivity, right? I do believe that might necessarily that might be a thing within the industry where people are scared to be honest about how they feel about something. And albeit if it's good or bad, where like it's just everything's just got to be this hunky dory. Oh yeah, everything is sunshine and rainbows. Like it's not. And if I was somebody that was in the room when Concord was being made, I would have told them you should put a single player component to this game. Instead of doing the vignettes, which you can still have, but the vignettes can just serve as cutscenes that push along a narrative, a playable and interactable narrative that players can engage in. Not just doing the vignettes. The vignettes can be in addition to, but there should be a single player component to the game. Why? Because PlayStation, obviously PlayStation is very synonymous when it comes to single player games and things like that. They are also known for multiplayer. I'm not saying they're not. But with the audience that PlayStation has cultivated right now, a large portion of them would rather play a single player experience over a multiplayer experience. But you want to also get that multiplayer crowd into that PlayStation space as well, at least from a first party perspective, because there are a lot of people on PlayStation that play multiplayer games. They're just third party. From a first party perspective, a lot of people expect single player games from PlayStation and not necessarily multiplayer in this present time. If you're trying to marry the two from a first party perspective, I do think that it would have been more beneficial to have a single player component to the game, because even if somebody is not necessarily into the multiplayer aspect or aren't looking to PlayStation first party for the multiplayer, the single player can still be something that pulls them in. And then at some point they can say, well, I completed the single player. Let me try the multiplayer and see what's up. I enjoyed the gameplay or the hero so much. Let me try the multiplayer. And you might have got a more of an attachment rate for the multiplayer side through the introduction of a single player component within the game. You see how constructive criticism works? That's more constructive than woke trash. I hate live service because you're going to nickel and dime me. You see what I'm saying, guys? That's something that a developer can listen to and discern and make an educated decision on how they should move going forward. You see how that works? Put a 1 in the chat if you enjoyed that constructive criticism of Concord. Put a 1. Put a 2 if you didn't enjoy it. Be honest. What's on? Why isn't Colin showing us the evidence of all of this? Yeah, that's actionable. See, shout out to the ones. I see the ones. Hey, yo, Concord, man. Hey, yo, Firewalk. Holla at your boy, man. I get y'all right. But that is something that is both respectful and is something that a developer can listen to and say, let's entertain that idea and see what happens if they're looking for constructive criticism. But toxic positivity, I think that can be more of a negative than a positive, even for a game that is good, because you have to be able to take that criticism. You have to be able to be honest, even if it's a game that you love, if it's your passion project and things like that. You still have to have a fresh pair of eyes, look at something, and be able to be honest, open, and critical about it, so that you can then look at it again through that person's eyes and say, maybe you're right. You ever taste, like, you ever cook and you taste the cooking and it tastes good, but then you want to bring like your significant other or your kid or somebody, like, hey, taste this, let me how it tastes. And they feel like, it needs a little bit more salt. Then you add more salt and you taste it, it's like, yeah, you were right. You couldn't tell that, but they could, and now it's a better dish because of it. Same thing applies with gaming, right? If you have toxic positivity and somebody is making something that isn't as good or might not be received as well, you have to have the right people in the room that can look at it and say, maybe you should do this instead, or maybe you should add this onto it. And I believe in Concord's case, if it's true that there was toxic positivity where no one could really be open about, what this, that, and the third, or whatever, I feel like that could have been a contributing factor to their downfall, or to the downfall of the game. Because again, I do think a game like this should have had a single player component, especially if you are going to do dedicated weekly vignettes and story, you know, kind of fleshing out the characters and things like that. That's all I got to say.
And he internally was himself a massive champion of the game. So it's not that. So the reason I'm telling you all of this, it's some interesting information, of course, but it's that I had said when people were like, Concord lost $200 million. Now people were pulling that money out because that's basically how much like some of the first party games like Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us Part 2, etc., kind of cost in that frame. And I was like, there's no way that it cost that much. I was.
Yo, Robert Evans makes up a good point. The focus groups are compromised too. That's actually a good point, because if you were focus testing this game, which I believe they are, because PlayStation definitely focus test a lot of their games. Again, PlayStation, holla at your boy. Hit me and Barry up. Hit up What's Up PlayStation Podcast. You want somebody to focus test your shit? You want somebody to focus test your games? Holla at your boys. You understand? Holla at us. Because trust me, I will be respectful, but I will definitely be honest with you. I've been gaming with PlayStation since the beginning, since a wee little lad. You understand? I know what I like. I trust me. Holla at your boy. You need somebody to focus test? Holla at me. Hit me up in the DMs. My DMs is open. Hit me up. I got you. But that's a good point. The people that were focus testing this game, no one said that. No one thought, yeah, this should have a single player component, or this should have this, or add that, or add this, or remove this, remove that.
I was saying like it cost 9 figures, probably like low $100 million, but there's no way it cost $200 million. No, it cost $400 million. So, and I am totally solid on this source, by the way. So that's why I'm willing to share it with you. Because again, I'm not really a journalist. So yeah, the big things to take away: $400 million loss. The game was in horrible shape as of 18 months ago before release. Not even monetization, no onboarding, most content not even there. The game was in such bad shape at that point that they spent the budget of it again in urgent outsourcing to get the game finished from all of these different angles over an 8.
You know what I don't get? Again, let's just play around with hypotheticals, because all of this is what if. None of this is confirmed. Obviously, this is Colin's source, but none of this is confirmed. Like, you know, it's all what if, right? So take it with a glass of water. Take everything that's being told to us today with a glass of water. You know, I don't say grain of salt because we ain't trying to have no high blood pressure out here. You understand? We all trying to live long lives and play all these great games. So we ain't taking no more grains of salt. We are going to take it with a glass of water. So take this with a glass of water. I hate to say this, because I appreciate Concord. I appreciate the devs. I have a lot of respect for the devs. So this may come off a little bit harsh, but the reason why I'm saying this is more so because of how I know PlayStation moves. If it really cost that much more to get this game off the ground because it wasn't in a state that was playable, why not just cancel the game and have them start on something else? You've already acquired the studio. And see, and this is what pisses me off a little bit. Factions got canceled because Neil Druckmann and team decided that they didn't want to dedicate their entire studio to being a live service machine. Then you acquire this studio, Firewalk, that is dedicated to creating a live service product. Why not give Factions 2 to fight? Why not cancel Concord? Because it's just not playable. It's not in a good state, allegedly, right? And why not say, you know what, Neil? We're going to take Factions from you, give it to Firewalk, let them build it. Because listen, Firewalk is comprised of some really great developers that come from really great multiplayer teams. You had Halo devs, you had Battlefield devs, you had Bungie devs, you had Infinity Ward devs, Call of Duty devs. You had a smorgasbord of talent. You have a smorgasbord of talent at Firewalk that has the expertise to create a shooter. Why not take Factions? If again, this is all hypothetical. What if this is to be believed? Why not take Factions from Neil and say, hey, Neil, we're going to take this from you. We agree. We don't want you to be a dedicated live service studio. So here's what we'll do. keep making your single player only games. Keep doing what you do. We want to keep you guys happy because you are our golden goose. You're one of our best and most brightest studios. But we're gonna take Factions 2, give this the firewalk, and you guys can consult. Kind of like what they did with Last of Us Part 1 remake. They didn't do that. They consulted on it. Or was it Last of Us Part 2 remaster? One of the or was it Uncharted Collection? I forget which one it was. Anyway, they could have just consulted. Say, listen, Firewalk, this is what we want to do. This is Last of Us 2. This is the gameplay. This is, build. And then hit us up if you need some advice. And let them consult. And yes, I'm still hurt off Factions 2 being canceled. That's why I'm bringing this up and using this as my hypothetical. But if $200 million, if you're putting that much more into it, why not just cancel their project and have them do something else from scratch, where now you can oversee, because obviously for PlayStation, there's a certain level of quality, a certain level of care that goes into their games. And listen, for what it's worth, Concord was not a buggy mess. Concord was a very polished game. Like let's give credit where credit is due. Concord didn't have any server issues. Concord didn't have any frame rate issues. Concord was a very beautiful looking, well polished game. It definitely had that PlayStation quality to it when it comes to the developmental prowess and the technical detail of what you would expect from a PlayStation product. That was absolutely present and front and center when it comes to Concord. No one can dispute that. But if the game was struggling to get into a state to where, it had more that it, or whatever the investment was, that I don't see why you wouldn't just put them onto something else and just cancel that and just have them keep their head down for another 4 or 5 years. And my thinking is the reason why they didn't do that is because they were thinking what was being made again, this is all what ifs, but if this is to be believed, PlayStation was probably thinking, if we put more money into it and, get it into a playable state, we can get some type of money back. I think they were probably thinking they could get a return on their investment back, and they didn't, and they canceled that shit. That's the only thing that I could see. Where is Factions? Yeah, Barry, where is Factions?
18-month period. Internally, the game was considered part of the future of PlayStation, with heavy cross-media references and a system of toxic positivity surrounding it that didn't allow anyone to meaningfully change the course of the game.
The whole future of PlayStation thing, I do believe, because Jim Ryan, back in what, 2021, 2020, 2021, or 2022, I forget which year it was, but this whole 12 or 13 live service games, and then the acquisition of Bungie, right? And having this committee that would oversee their 12 or 13 live service games that was being created. That part I believe. That whole Concord and all this other shit was going to be the future of PlayStation. Absolutely. That was at a time going to be the future of PlayStation, because we could clearly see that PlayStation was investing heavily, more so into live service than even single player when it came to their quarterly reports. So their thinking and vision was absolutely live service games as a service, and that being the future, more so than single player. Now I believe that has shifted significantly, because I think they're starting to see how difficult it is to do multiplayer, more so games as a service, but also new leadership. I think there's definitely a pivot that we're seeing where they're kind of like, all right, maybe we were a little too ambitious when it came to doing 12 live service games by 2025. That was originally what they were saying, 12 live service games. We've had 2 studios shut down. London studio shut down. They were making a fantasy multiplayer experience. Shut down. Factions shut down. Canceled. Concord shut down. Canceled. 3 projects already canceled, and they already canceled 6 projects. Because originally it was 12, and they canceled 6 of them off bat that we don't even know about. And so the other 6, 3 of them have already failed or have been canned. Well, I would think, no, the London studio one was probably a part of the 6 original that was canned. But the point that I'm making is there's definitely a pivot.
because if the people at the top truly believe in something, you're not going to be able to do much about that, I don't think, from the trenches. So
You don't game, you wouldn't know. Who don't game? Me think? Who don't game? You talking to somebody in the chat? You talking to me? Oh, Mary got him. Mary deleted that. Hey, me think. Clean that up. Clean that up. Don't get embarrassed. Don't get embarrassed. The chat will embarrass you. You in the wrong chat, my boy. You are in the wrong chat talking about I don't game. You in the wrong chat, my boy. I ain't these fly by night YouTube gaming content creating motherfuckers that sit in this camera every day and don't show you that they fucking play games. You better run through that YouTube. You better run through the channel. Look at the content. You better cut that book. Who you thought? What? I don't game. Yo, chat. Hey, yo, chat. Yo, let him know. I ain't even gotta say nothing. The chat gonna get at you. Keep talking that stupid shit. The chat gonna get at you.
I thought people would be interested in that, and just wanted to throw that out there. That Star Wars really apparently, or I'm sorry, Star Wars. Sony really saw this as a Star Wars like project for them, like the potential to, and now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Not only why they spent so much money on it, but why they bought the team. So there are people there, and to me, it's unclear who exactly the people are. I know some of the names. I don't want to get too deep into that because a lot of the things I learned were off the record, but obviously this is on background. And it's like, yeah, now it makes a little more sense. You spent, and by the way, the $400 million not included in how much it cost to buy the team.
Hey, yo, yo, listen, bro. Hey, yo, listen, man. What? I don't believe that, bro. Yo, the acquisition number, the acquisition cost got to be floating around in there. If this 400 million shit is to be believed, man, I do not believe that shit. Oh, bro, what? What? Yo, listen. Woo-wee.
So yeah, so Concord is Sony's biggest released game by budget to date, and it is the biggest loss that they've ever had as a company on a project before.
Yo, man. Nah, bro. Yo, listen, Colin, my boy. We gonna have to get Colin. We gonna have to get you back on Whoops. Yeah, yo, we gonna have to talk because hold the fuck up, man. I don't know about that, bro. Yo, Colin, listen, brother. Listen, man. You my boy, Colin. Some of this shit sounded too hard to believe, my boy. I'm gonna keep it a stack. Yo, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you, Colin. Some of this shit is too hard to believe, man. I need Grub. I need somebody to corroborate this shit, boy. Cause listen, no sir, no ma'am. Hell no, bro. Hell no. Another thing I want to talk about real quick. Yo, shout out to Lorraine Pro, cause he put out some other he's a supporter. And he said if it just doesn't add up. I like Colin, but the dude's is being gaslit. All his points are easily traceable to the smoking gun that is 1, Billy Coon's Project Chaos tweet, 2, Herman's tweet on Firewalk years back, and 3, the DEI hate mob stories. Is all too convenient to me. All right, so I do want to go through these screenshots. Shout out to him because these were definitely things I wanted to use to corroborate or to kind of like just look at the history surrounding Concord and you know just all of it, right? I believe this is one of the developers. I could be wrong. Just to get some clarity out there, 8 years ago, Concord was a wouldn't it be cool if with napkin sketches and stuff. Firewalk has only existed for 6 years, and most of the content that is actually in the game was built over the last 4 years or so, which again, we know about the partnership back in 2021. So that would mean that back in 2020, they started kind of like the concept phase or whatever. This is, I believe, Concord's Discord or one of the Discords or something like that. Then, shout out to Amanda, cool peoples. You know, a lot. I rock with her heavy, and she's one of the, like I said, she's the lead artist, or one of the lead artists over at Firewalk Studio. And I remember when she put this thread out there. This has to do with somebody that wanted to do some redesigns for Concord characters, and she kind of like responded here. So I kind of just want to read what she's talking about. So she says, I was going to DM you after seeing this, but this site makes me pay to do that. So at the risk of getting dogpiled, I'm just going to say this here. A lot affected the art side of Concord, including design by committee, failure of some leadership to listen to the art team, etc. The character concept art team, including myself, is going through an extremely difficult time emotionally, and some on the team no longer want to work in games, design characters, or even do art anymore after this because of posts like this, like yours, though understandable, are unfortunately ill-timed. None of us know which way the wind will blow with the studio. We are worried, sick, and terrified of the future. Not only that, but we have been shouldering the brunt of the emotional labor as executives and directors dodge most of the blame. Behind the scenes, all of this talk about Concord and character designs, people's livelihoods are at risk, and there are very real financial consequences that might hurt us even more. That's just what I can say from our point of view. I'm not saying change course or anything. Us artists like being able to use social media to promote our work and get more jobs, but I'm saying we see this and it does absolutely affect us since we just got our teeth kicked in. So certain things, Amanda, and listen, Amanda's again one of the lead artists at Firewalk. She's kind of inadvertently corroborating something that Colin said when it comes to the toxic positivity bit, right? Where leadership wasn't listening to some of the suggestions that then the art team was trying to give when it came to the designs. That's not a good thing. It's not a good look. And then what is this? Firewalk is packed with tenacious fighters, multiple acquisitions, an engine upgrade. Yeah, so Concord did go from UE4 to UE5. They had a lot of delays. We shipped. Yep. I started at Firewalk. So this is Hamrick. This is game director Josh Hamrick. I think he's the game director. I believe. Anyway, so I started at Firewalk in the spring of 2019. We were less than a dozen devs working shoulder to shoulder in a friend's attic. So, Firewalk hasn't really been around that long. It's a fairly brand new studio. So whatever they were working on, probably Monsters liked, got them, acquired them or whatever. They started probably building from there. And then PlayStation started the partnership with Firewalk in 2021. That got announced. And then fast forward to 2023, whatever they saw, they liked and acquired them. And then fast forward to now, the game releases, and now the game releases, it gets shut down in less than 2 weeks. And now we don't know the certainty that the studio there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the studio, when it comes to the livelihoods of these developers' jobs, right? The studio itself could get shut down potentially. We don't know, right? I hope that doesn't happen, but that is a very real possibility when you look at how big of a failure this game was for PlayStation. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. So, I do think there's definitely a lot of uncertainty from PlayStation when it comes to that. When it comes to Firewalk, when it comes to that. But when it comes to like the whole $400 million budget and things like that, those are things that I'm kind of looking at it and I'm like, I just don't see that. I really just do not see that as something that is really, really, I find that hard to believe. I really do. But then you got people like Kotaku, because Kotaku broke the other story about another leak about who was it? Ryan Illis, I think it was. I think I retweeted this, or let me go to Kotaku. I don't really like fucking with Kotaku. Oh, let me go to Inside Gaming. Because Inside Gaming also talked about it. They retweeted it. I'm trying to find the article. Concord. Okay, here we go. So this comes from Kotaku. So 2 weeks ago, Concord failed so badly that it was taken offline, leaving the team of Firewalk sitting in the despair at the situation they find themselves in. The game that they'd spent years putting together was DOA, pulling in so few players and missing the mark so monumentally that it failed to gain an ounce of traction at release. Now the game director, Ryan Ellis, has stepped down from his position and moved into more of a support role, per a report from Kotaku. So again, something that's not corroborated, but you know, if this is the case where Ryan Ellis did step down, you know, that sucks to see. But obviously, you know, we have to speak very honestly, right? And here it is. When you have when you have a failure of this size. Hey yo, shout out to shout out to y'all, man. Hey, my boy Cyber Dragon, out here for your boy, man. I'm letting the notifications play out. There's one more. Oh, that's it? Okay. Yo, big shout out to Philip DVG. Appreciate you for the super chat. He says, do you believe they could have gotten better feedback from gamers to save Concord if they showed the game last year? Hold on, let me I gotta expand that a little bit. Last year or years in advance at a showcase? At a showcase. You know, I do believe that they could have gotten some better feedback if they would have showed this game a little bit earlier. And you see, this goes back to what I keep saying when it comes to PlayStation, man. I get you want to be tight-lipped, but with this live service shit, you can't move how you move with single player with this. You got to get the game out there. You got to get the public involved so that you can make sure that you are going in the right direction. Early access alphas and betas and shit like that. Especially for a game, again, if it's to believe that this much money is going into a game like this, you don't want to have just one beta a month before the game drop. You want to have a alpha 2 years before this shit drop. Get the feedback. Get people involved, doing all these different things. Early access. Games as a service and live service is a very different realm than single player game development. You gotta get that. You gotta get the public involved in some capacity so that you can make sure that you are moving down the right path. I do believe that. Yo, Viper Reese, I appreciate you for the super chat. He says, somebody capping. It might not be Colin. Maybe it's the leak, but somebody capping big time. Yeah, I definitely do think that there's definitely... I'll say this. For Colin, I do think that there may be some... There is some truth to some of the stuff he's talking about. I don't think all of what he's saying is incorrect or wrong. Now, the thing I most have a hard time believing is just that $400 million number. That's really like the main thing. But the whole toxic positivity and stuff like that, I do believe that stuff, and I do think that stuff might be true. Only for the simple fact is we see a lot of that happening within gaming now. We see a lot of that happening within the industry where people are scared to be honest about their true feelings and thoughts when it comes to games, regardless if it's a positive or negative. So I do believe that. And the Cyber Dragon, appreciate you, bro. Shout out to my boy Cyber Dragon, man. Longtime supporter here on the channel. Gifting 5 memberships. Cyber, you know, I always appreciate you, bro, man. Shout out to you, Cyber. Cyber might be, no cap, he might be one of the first, or like the first 5 people to ever subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like, legit. He's been supporting and rocking with me for that long. It's been years. Shout out to my boy Cyber. And then shout out to Impatient Fire, Lord Hog, Team Ambush, Look It's Noir, and Michael Meridian for becoming members on the channel, man. I hope you enjoy your stay. Enjoy the emotes. Guys, I do want to upgrade the emotes. Add some new stuff. It'll happen. Stay tuned. But I do think that there is some validity to what's being said. Now, here's my thing. Going forward, and I'm going to say this on WUPS tomorrow too, because I'm sure Barry's going to ask this question. I've already asked this question, and I'm sure it'll probably come up again, especially if we talk about this whole Concord situation, right? In these rumors. I really don't have faith in PlayStation when it comes to live service right now. I don't. They fumbled too many times. And, you know, Helldivers 2 is an outlier and an anomaly, and is not the status quo, or it's not the norm when it comes to PlayStation and live service, right? Bungie, right? Bungie is fucking up enormously. You know, they missing financial targets. You know, Lightfall wasn't really that great. Final Shape I thought was a great expansion, but it wasn't. It didn't meet internal expectations when it came to sales, which is not good. Marathon, we're hearing Marathon is in a bad shape, and you know it's not really hitting for a lot of people. And then, you know, Fair Games, right? Haven Studio and Marathon are the next two games as a service live saving games up to step up to the podium. And I got to be honest, I have no faith in neither one of those titles. I have no faith that those titles will really resonate, because PlayStation, you know, just look at what we're seeing here with Concord. I hope I'm wrong. I pray that I'm wrong. But as of right now, my faith in PlayStation when it comes to games as a service, a live service, it's not there. It's very minimal. Very minimal. I do not have a lot of faith, and I hope I get proven wrong. I hope Fair Games comes out with I hope Haven comes out with Fair Games and they knock it out the park and it becomes a smashing success, and it's fun to play and it's got good replayability and things like that. I hope Marathon comes out and is a smashing success and it's fun and has the replayability and all that. I do hope that. But as of right now, especially coming off the heels of Concord's failure and PlayStation fumbling this badly, my faith in their games as a service is not there. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You feel me? But I do not have faith in Fair Games and Marathon. I don't. Well, what are you gonna do, right? I have zero faith in PlayStation's live service push so far. The only real success has been Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 and Gran Turismo GT7. That's live service as well. Be fair to Fair Games. Nah, listen, I mean, you know, when they show gameplay and, you know, whatever, I'll definitely look at it, pay attention, you know, critique it, you know, probably play the beta or whatever, but my faith in their live service push is just not there. You know, it's not there right now. I'm sorry, like that's just where I'm at right now when it comes to that. It's not there. Corey, what's good, man? Where Corey at? Frederick, what's good? One of them has to be really good. Sure. Doesn't mean it will. We would hope that it's good. That doesn't necessarily mean it will be good though. I have more faith in Marathon than Haven Studios game, but at the end, both are kind of in the same genre, and that boggles my mind. I don't know, man. Bungie has been fumbling a lot lately. And then you know, everything that's going on internally with their leadership and all that stuff. And then again, what we've been hearing about the internal playtest not being all that great and things like that. I don't know. But again, we need to see gameplay. We actually need to see gameplay and be able to truly critique the gameplay in the landscape of the game and whatnot, to really be able to discern if this is something worth investing in or not. So obviously, you know, I definitely on a wait and see approach, but my faith in both of those titles are not that high. They just aren't. Even MLB The Show has been underwhelming since it went multi-plat. I don't really follow MLB that heavy, so I don't really you know, I don't really I know MLB still sells every year. It charts every year, so people definitely are still enjoying that game. Impatient says facts Persona GT is for sure successful, but I believe that had live service since GT Sport on PS4. Did it? It might have. You might be right about that, Impatient. But yo, let me know what you guys think, man. Do you guys believe any of the rumors and stuff like that is coming from Colin and Sacred Symbols? And again, shout out to the guys over there at Sacred Symbols, man. They do a lot of they do run a really tight ship over there, you know, really entertaining show. So make sure you guys, support them, check them out. Shout out to Colin Moriarty as well. Again, a lot of respect for Colin. I met Colin on 2 different occasions, actually, at PlayStation Experience, believe it or not. And, him and Greg, I met both of them, both really cool. And again, Colin has been on WUPS, so, we definitely gonna have to get Colin back, man, and talk some gaming with him. Definitely long overdue. But, listen, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know how you guys feeling about all this stuff. I definitely wanna know what's up. But yeah, I do appreciate everybody pulling up, coming through, rocking out with us. As we critiqued this information, like I said, I had to do a show. I had to do a show and talk about this and put my thoughts out there. And I know, again, like I said, I know for me and Bari, I know we're gonna talk about this tomorrow as well. I know we're gonna talk about this, and I know Bari's probably got a lot to say about this as well. He might even do a video, who knows? But yeah. Episona, what's good, brother? I believe it, but what this means is that they need to pack that live service shit up. Nah, listen, I don't think PlayStation needs to not do multiplayer or games of service. Ice Queen, happy birthday, happy early birthday to Ice Queen. I don't think PlayStation shouldn't not do live service or do multiplayer games. I just think their approach to this shit is off, and they need to take a step back, reevaluate, and come back stronger, right? Because right now the faith in their live service initiative is not there, and I'm pretty sure it's not there for a lot of people, and we're seeing it, and it probably might be even more so prevalent now with the failure of Concord. So I'm not saying that they should give up, but I do think that they need to take a step back holistically, look at the situation, evaluate, and come back stronger. That's what I think. Straight up. But let's see how Fair Games and Marathon do. Maybe those 2 games will do something that Concord could not. Or maybe PlayStation has learned their lesson with Concord, and they're going into both Fair Games and Marathon with a fresh pair of eyes or a different type of mindset to ensure the success of those games. Only time will tell, because again, we need to get those games in our hands, either with a beta or by playing those games, and see how PlayStation and those studios both maneuver, and how they support them, and how they kind of roll those games out, right? Because another thing, especially with Concord, that I don't agree with is the small or limited marketing push that they did for this game. I also think that was a big contributing factor to its failure as well. Such a short marketing cycle and such a short marketing push, it's not enough. Live service, you got to get the word out there, and you need adequate time to do so. So I hope with Fair Games and Marathon, they are more forthcoming with showing the game off, getting the community involved, doing alphas and betas earlier than a month before a game drops, right? And ready to have like that roadmap, and the gameplay and all that be good as well. Those things are very important. So that's what PlayStation needs to also be mindful of and start to kind of get better at, especially with the games as a service push. Yo, Viper, appreciate you for the super chat. I believe everything except that $400 million development cost. I need an audit ASAP. Yeah, that looks a little funky to me. That looks very funky to me. That's probably the only thing I have the hardest time believing is the $400 million claim. I don't believe that. I don't. But yeah, with that being said, guys, listen, this wasn't going to be a super duper long show, but I did want to do a show here on this Friday evening, chop it up with you guys, talk some gaming news. Listen, I do appreciate you guys coming through, rocking out with your boy here on episode 257 of When Persona Speaks. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, like, comment, and subscribe. Listen, tomorrow, episode 170 of What's Up PlayStation Podcast with me and Bari. That show is going to be really good, really entertaining. I know we're going to be talking about the 30th anniversary PlayStation collection. We're going to be talking about this Concord news. We're going to be talking about a potential state of play happening next week. I know it's a lot of great news that we're going to be talking about tomorrow on tomorrow's show. So make sure you guys are subscribed to What's Up PlayStation Podcast, the link to that is in the description. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. on the What's Up PlayStation Podcast YouTube channel. Anybody that's finding my channel for the first time, I do hope you guys enjoy your stay here. If you did enjoy the content, like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. If you didn't enjoy the content, I at least appreciate you stopping by and giving my content a listen, a chance. And yeah, with that being said, guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Have fun with whatever you're doing. Always be safe with whatever you're doing. And enjoy the weekend. Have fun this weekend. And officially, tomorrow's the last day of summer. So have fun, guys. It's almost summer. Officially, it's over after tomorrow. So, you know, we're going to have a lot of fun. Right? But all right, guys, y'all be safe. Game it up. And we out.